Today's lesson is about what's here, but we can't see it. What's right there, but maybe we are limited by this human body. We're talking about the afterlife. We're talking about the people in our lives that love us and they're no longer in skin, but they're here. Unity Worldwide Ministries' theme for November is this: interconnection. Like rivers flowing from one source, we are all connected. So we have this oneness, we call it, or collective consciousness, that basically means that every soul, every person is connected to every other person. And our connectedness actually makes us one loving body. It's kind of hard to wrap our mind around that because we are taught to be individual. We're taught to be self-supporting, and we are that. But think of it like this. This is my favorite way. You are a drop of the ocean, and then there's the giant ocean with everybody. When you take one drop out of the ocean, you're still the ocean. So when you walk over and you stand by yourself, you are by yourself, but you're still part of the oneness. And that wonderful, true idea explains a lot about communing or loving on or spending time with people who are no longer here in body. We have a couple of fundamental truths that help us connect to the other side. The first one is that we are all one, no matter what. Souls are bonded together in love. No matter what's happening, we are bonded together. There actually is no separation. Sometimes we feel separated by people's choices, or they make us angry and we feel separated, but from a core standpoint, that spirit is always connected to other spirits. So when someone dies, we're still connected to their spirit. We remain one, even if we're remaining together in different dimensions. And the second big reason is we're made of the same stuff. At your core is spirit. You are layered. The deepest part of you is your God part. You actually have God within you. You're created by creator, source, universe, however you want to name your creator. And that's actually the deepest part of you. And then after that is your soul. Your soul is affected by your experiences and your five senses. And then around that is your body. Well, if we're all made of the same stuff at our deepest core, spirit, if you're made of spirit, it means you already speak the same language. You have the same energy as other spirit. So when people cross over, maybe you can't see them like you used to, but they're still with you. And you actually have the ability to experience them because you are spirit and they are spirit. And we're going to talk about that today, because when we think about communing with people on the other side, it can feel a little bit entertaining. It can feel a little bit magical. Let's let it feel easy, like an exhale. Let's let it be normal. When I'm not here at Unity, I'm a few other things. I wear other name tags. I'm a wife, I'm a mama, and also I'm a psychic medium. And I've had to really struggle with that. I've really wrestled with that throughout my life, because when someone hears that you're a psychic medium, it's very possible that they click into entertainment. And we have some really cool shows out there that are very entertaining about the afterlife. I love watching them. And yeah, I can do that. But what I'm called to do with this gift is not to entertain. It's to help us feel interconnected. And it's also part of my, I think, soul calling to help you realize that you're able to do that as well. You actually have no limits. If you're created with that goodness at your core, that spirit God part of you, there's no limits there. So when you say, well, I can't see spirit. I can't smell spirit. You might want to reevaluate that. Maybe you could say, I have the potential to see spirit, because you do. So I wanted to pull those facets of my life together today and weave them together. You see me do it every week, actually, because my talks are channeled. I bring an idea to the table, or maybe spirit does, and then I just let my mouth be free and spirit talks through me. So you actually see it every week, but today we're going to be a little more intentional, and we're going to let spirit come in the room and really talk to us about who they are, what they want, how you can start to talk to them. And remember, this isn't for entertainment. This is for connection. When people aren't here with us anymore, we grieve, we miss them. And we will always grieve. It is a change. And yet there's something that I think we could develop more. And it's the idea that, yes, my mother or my spouse or my dog or my child are not with me in skin, but they are still with me. Because as spirit, we continue, we go on. There is no stopping of life. We just don't need this coat of a body that we're wearing anymore, but we go on. So I want to start with a story, because even as a psychic medium who is around the dead or people of spirit all the time, sometimes still I get a little bit surprised. And I want to tell you something that happened to me in August, because I want to give you an example of how spirit can work. So we moved in September, and a couple months before that, I started to do some pre-cleaning. I would clean out a closet so that when I went back, I could just put that stuff in a box. And there's a closet downstairs in our old house that we called the hall closet, and it just had a few things in it. I knew what was in that closet: coats, snow pants, a couple of boxes on the top shelf, because remember, I'd already cleaned it out. I was ready to put that stuff in a box. So it happened to be my father-in-law's birthday, and I was packing and decided, okay, well, I'll pack that closet. So I got a box out, put everything in there, and just as I was about to stop packing, I thought, well, I'm just going to give it one final look. And I looked up on the shelf, and there was a watch. Now, that watch wasn't there before. I had been through the closet. I knew what was in there, and I'm pretty thorough. It was not there before. So I picked up the watch, and I didn't remember seeing it before, but I just had a feeling. So I asked Edward, have you seen this watch before? And he didn't really remember either. So I sent a picture of it to my sister-in-law, and sure enough, she said, that's Dad's watch. So how did it get there? Why was it there? We had certainly been talking about Dad, Grandpa Corpus, a lot, as we often do. So we feel him present, but there is something about that day, his birthday, that he really wanted to make his presence known. And how amazing that he, as spirit, could take something tangible made of matter and move it from somewhere else to that shelf in our closet. Amazing. Now that feels like a miracle. Well, it is. That's the other part of being spirit. You have access to miracles. Miracles aren't just in movies. You have access to miracles every day. And this is an example of a miracle in my life. That watch didn't just show up. It wasn't there and I forgot it. My father-in-law put it there. Spirit will talk to us in many different ways. Lots of times through signs and symbols that when we see them, we think, oh, that's my mom, or that's my husband. They're very crafty with that. I want to talk about this today, how they communicate with us, what it means to us, why they do it, because we are at November 1st, which is All Saints Day. That's the Feast of All Saints. And I remember growing up as a Catholic girl, we would celebrate All Saints Day, and it really was to honor the saints. But as a non-practicing Catholic, I've learned that All Saints Day is stretched a little bit. and it's to honor all of the dead. Plus, we have Halloween just happened, All Hallows Eve, the observance of Samhain, which is another time that we pull the dead closer to us. We have the Day of the Dead, which is also, I think, November 1st and November 2nd. So we have all of this happening right now, which must feel like an amazing celebration for those who have crossed over, for those who are dead. Because finally, in our busy year, we've stopped and we've said, all right, I'm going to pay attention to you. And when we stop and pay attention to them, it gives them energy to come through more. You might notice that your house might be a little bit noisier at night the last few days. You might notice that you see more pennies. You might notice feathers. You might see more cardinals in the yard. For the next week or so, we've opened up kind of a doorway. So the other dimension and our dimension, there is no veil. It's just a walkway from one to the other, and they can come here so easily. But I'll tell you, I speak to people who have crossed over every day. And one of the things they always ask for is, Rachel, help my family know that I'm with them every day. It doesn't have to be my birthday or a holiday or Halloween or Samhain or Day of the Dead. I'm there every day, and will you let them know that? So I'll say, all right, how can they know? What's the proof? Because we are very proof-oriented people, aren't we? Whatever we can hold in our hand, we believe it. And much of this is about faith. It's believing in the unseen. So how can spirit show us that they're around? And here's some examples of how spirit has shown up in people's lives that I work with or in my life. So for example, spirit might come through with a special song or a sign that was just them. You might see someone with a belt buckle, and as you notice it, that's your grandpa or whoever wore a big belt buckle saying, hey, notice that. So the person with the belt buckle was already walking by, but the sign is there because your loved one poked at you till you noticed it. You might see a bunch of coins on the ground. Coins are really easy for spirit to move because they're infused with energy. Think about how many people pick up a penny or a quarter, and that has so much energy in it that spirit can pick it up and move it easily. Sometimes our loved ones will actually team up with our angels. So angels are different than people who have crossed. So angels are with you as well, but they're not human. Angels are holy entities that are assigned to you when you're created, and you have one or two angels that are with you all the time. Separate from that, we have people who have passed. And once in a while, the people who have passed team up with our angels to round out our care. And why is that? Well, our angels, perfect as they are, have never been human before. So they don't feel the feelings of indigestion, poverty, grieving, all the human stuff. So as they guide us, sometimes they need some human perspective to round out our care. And each one of us has someone in our family that the angels choose to guide us. And sometimes that person is chosen long before they pass. But as soon as that person passes, the angels extend a feather to them. They give them this beautiful white iridescent feather, and it's kind of a ceremony, I suppose. And as they extend this feather, they say to them, will you join us? Will you help us guide our person? Give us perspective. And so from that time forward, that person in your life will show up by giving you signs of a feather, any feather. Even if you have a feather pillow, let's have faith. If one of those feathers shows up in the living room, sure, it could have been stuck to your shoe, or it could be moved by spirit. So feathers are very important because that is one of your signs that your human spirit team is linked up with your angel team. If you're not sure who that is for you, who has the feather, when you see the feather, the first person you think of is the person that's giving it to you, because you are gifted. You may not know it, but you are very intuitive. So when someone in spirit is standing right next to you, you're going to think of them. That's how your body translates their energy being right next to you. So when you see a feather and you pick it up, that loved one is right there saying, oh, that's from me. And your body and your mind will feel that and say, oh, that's from my grandma. Cardinals are used often by spirit, and cardinals are chosen because they are here year round. And spirit will often choose the cardinal when they want to show us that we haven't gone anywhere. You can see me any day in any season. And many families will share the symbol of the cardinal. So same thing, when you see a cardinal, the first person you think of is the one that sent it. Other ways people will come through will be through numbers. Angels use numbers as well. So let's pull that apart a little bit. Remember, you have your angel team. Angels are different than spirit who have crossed. They are holy entities, not human, and you have them with you. Your angels will send you repeating numbers to give you information. So if you didn't know that, whenever you go out, watch every license plate possible. Look for every number on a billboard or a phone number and watch for those numbers that repeat. You see an 83 here, then one here, and in 30 seconds you see another one. Well, that means that number is for you. So your angels will work hard to give you detailed information about your life through numbers. Your family and friends on the other side will also use numbers occasionally. So it's a good idea to write down or get straight in your head what numbers are associated with each person. For example, my grandpa and grandma Walker lived at 517 East Chambers. So whenever I see 517, and it's about every day, I know that is a sign from my grandpa and grandma Walker that they're with me, or they just heard what I was saying. And they're sending that number in response to that. I don't necessarily look up what that number means because the message is already felt. They're with me. So numbers are really important. And I like what I heard them say a minute ago. Get those numbers straight in your mind so that you know when you're out and about, if you see a number, that belongs to a loved one. It could be a birthday, an anniversary, a house number, a passing day, a holiday that they loved. Whatever is there, whatever number is correct, you will feel it. You'll feel it strongly and you'll know it's right. Half the battle here is having faith in your own ability. You may have great faith in spirit that they have the ability to come through, but when you see a sign or have a magical happening from them, our default tends to be, oh, that's just coincidence, or I just made that up. Well, no, there are no coincidences. All of this is woven together in a beautiful, divine, spiritual way. And it is your job to say, I believe that. Right now, because we're in this week or so of the veil being stretched open, the doors open, we're giving so much belief to them that they have more power to come through. You can do that every day. When you receive messages from them saying, I know that was you, thank you, gives them more power and energy to pop through. Let's talk a minute about your intuitive ability. You've heard a little bit from spirit about how they come through. Let's talk about the possibility that you have as a person to know spirit is around and to talk with them, feel them. Let's get rid of something first. Let's get rid of the phrase or the thought, I want to see spirit, because that's limiting. You have 6 senses, right? Your 5 senses plus your intuition. And when we say, I want to see spirit, we've knocked out a lot of possibility of how they could come through or how you could notice. And let's be honest, as perfect as your body is, it does have its limitations. Our eyes are made to see certain levels of light, certain colors. So sometimes when spirit comes in, we actually can't see them because our brain and our eyes are limited. So we're going to open that up and we're going to change, I want to see spirit to, I want to experience spirit. You can add that to any part of your life. I want to experience life. And opening up that beautiful possibility allows spirit to come in many different ways. Have you ever been walking around and you smell cigarette smoke, but nobody is smoking? Or sitting in your room and it smells like somebody's smoking right outside? Have you ever smelled perfume and that belongs to somebody you loved? Have you ever smelled baked goods? That's your angels showing up using your sense of smell. Angels often smell like cinnamon or something yummy baking. Have you felt spirit before? When your loved one comes over and touches your hair or puts their hand on your back, every once in a while, it will feel like a hand is on you, every once in a while. But more often than that, the energy that they're using to touch you, your body has to process that, and it'll feel a little bit different than what was intended. For example, if someone comes over to you and touches your hair, they might be doing this, but what you feel is kind of a scratchy feeling on your scalp, like an ant is in there, because our body is processing the energy that's touching it. You might feel like one hair is picking up by itself. That could also be spirit touching your hair. You might get a chill all of a sudden. Maybe that's because your loved one sat right down beside you and your body says, "Oh, what is all of this?" You might even feel signs from people that have to do especially with them. So for example, if you have someone who had a stroke and they sit by you, you might feel a little bit out of balance for a moment. You may need to sit down. Maybe one side of your face feels a little bit tingly. Sometimes you can actually feel some things that happen to them in their life. The possibilities are endless. This is an open-ended process. If you want to develop this part of spiritual you, your first step is to say, yes, I want that. I was born with some special abilities. That's not really accurate. We're all born with special abilities. For some reason, when I was born into this lifetime, my ability to see spirit is for me, I do see. That was already developed, and I didn't know that I was different than anybody else. But I'm told every day that every person has the ability to do this, to see, hear, smell, feel, experience spirit. But there was one point in my life, even though I came in with some pretty intense gifting, I had to say, yes, I want it. For a long time, I said, no, I don't want it, because I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to embarrass my family. I lived in a small town. I didn't know if I was wrong when I was doing this stuff. So I said, no, I don't want it. But at some point, my gifts were growing so fast and it felt good. I said, okay, I'll do it. And then it's really like everything went clink and I fit all of a sudden. But had I not had that yes moment, none of my development could have happened. So I hear from spirit that that is your first step, saying yes. And when you say yes to this, you're saying yes to yourself. I believe that I have the possibility of doing that. You're saying yes to spirit. I invite you in. And you're saying yes to your creator, because you are created with this gift within you, buried sometimes like a beautiful treasure. And when you say, yes, I'm going to explore this, you are validating the love of your creator. I was created this way. It's not wrong. You are created with your gifts. And I really believe that this could be one that you enhance, grow. This could bring so much to your life if you want it. So step one is saying yes. Step two is allowing yourself to be creative as you observe. If you were to walk into a room full of people in skin, all of them would have a different way of looking at you, talking to you. They would have a different way of walking through the room. If it was Christmas and everybody gave you a present, everybody's present would be a little bit different. Some would be funny, some would be serious or sentimental. When people that you know are telling a story, that's all over the place. It could be metaphorical, it could be realistic, it could be literal. Well, when we step out of our body, how we come through matches how we were when we were alive. So if you have someone that was funny, don't be surprised if the signs from them are really funny. If you have someone that was always conscious about money, don't be surprised if those signs are coins. Be open and creative. And when you see a sign from someone, you can always ask them to prove it. You can always say, all right, I feel that was you, angels or dad. If that was you, show me another. Then give it a few days to see another sign. You have to give it a little bit of time because you're growing. That takes time. And also, where our loved ones are, there is no clock. There's no time stamp. Time is something that we made up at some point, and they don't have to deal with it where they are. So when you ask for validation or for help or show me a sign, give it some time. I remember many nights growing up saying, okay, great grandma, if you're here, flicker the lights. And I would wait and wait and wait, and it couldn't happen because I was asking a lot in that moment, and I was using my time construct, not theirs. So say yes, and then be creative to how they come through. I'm also asked to share today that you may have people come through for you that weren't very nice to you in life. If they really hurt you, there's a barrier there. Your angels step in and say, you can't come through. You hurt her or you hurt him. You're not going to have much time with them until you work it out. And maybe that means when you cross over, you have a conversation with your abuser or the person that lied to you or abandoned you. And then you can decide if you're going to have a relationship. It's very possible. But let's talk about the people that loved you and also hurt you at the same time. This could be with their words, with an action. You know what I'm talking about. You can allow yourself to go there safely for a minute. I want to tell you from them that there is the possibility of healing and evolution on the other side. When we cross over, there is a process I've been shown. We cross over and we rest. We reset. And at some point, we watch our lives like a movie. And after we watch that debriefing of our life, we sit with our angels, sometimes a representative of our creator, could be a Buddha, could be Jesus. Sometimes people in our life sit with us and we're asked guiding questions. What made you happy? What brought you joy? What are you proud of? What are you not proud of? What do you want to heal? And as soon as you're asked that question, your angels start to write down really fast everything that you want to heal. And then they start to kind of bring forward heavenly therapy, where every day you work on the stuff that you decided you want to work on. So it's very possible that you have someone coming through for you feeling peaceful and loving, but when they were here, they were a real hothead. They were real mean to you. But there is a chance for evolution. Trust in that. You're in charge of all this. So if you're thinking right now, but I don't want so-and-so to come through, well, then tell them. You wouldn't let anybody in your house without permission. This is the same thing. But I want you to just broaden your heart a little bit, open that up, because just as you are given chances to heal and to evolve and to become a better person, so do they. We go on and our learning goes on. That's probably more than enough for today. I could talk hours and hours about spirit. It is my life. I love it. And I want to share it with you every once in a while because you have this same capacity. Sometimes God gives us things that are obvious. Good at math, not good at math. Good cook, not a good cook. Sometimes those things are right in front of us, and sometimes they're like a buried treasure that you get to explore. So what are those buried treasures in your soul, in your spirit? What are they? Could this be one of them? I bet it could be if you want it. And then you can decide what you're going to do with it. I'm not one for using psychic mediumship for entertaining, but it's not wrong if you do. Anytime you pull out this gift and you use it, it will help people. So have faith in your ability. Say yes, be creative to what happens next. And remember, this is possible because you are made of spirit. They are spirit, you are spirit. That's a match. Before I move on in worship today, we're going to do just a 2-minute practice here. We're going to open up our awareness to feel spirit. We're so busy. We've got so much we're thinking about. And spirit will sometimes walk in as a peaceful presence, and we don't match that because we're frantic. So what I'd like you to do, sitting wherever you are right now, I want you to just sit down in your chair and be easy for a minute. Let your skin feel like it's melty. Let your body be pliable. If you need to tighten up for a second and then let go, go ahead. But what you're doing right now is you're stepping out of your body and you're feeling yourself as spirit. So you can notice your body for a second and then pretend like you're standing up. You're stepping out of it. I'm going to repeat it to help you. Feel your body for a moment, sitting down, and then imagine you as spirit, you stand up, you step out of it. And then standing in the room, who is it that you see? Look in your mind's eye. You are standing now as spirit. Who do you see? What do you want to say to that person or ask that person? This is your show. So if you want to, go over and hug that person. Shake their hand. I encourage you to do this later today, where all this information is getting settled in your subconscious and in your conscious mind. Use this today. Sit down quietly, step out of your body and walk into the room again as spirit. Talk to those people around you. Who do you see? What do you want to say? What do you need to say? And then when it's done, say, I love you. I'll see you later. And sit back down in your body. And you can do this anytime. You can access the spirit world anytime you want. Maybe not when you're driving. Maybe not in a budget meeting. But anytime you need to and want to, you can step out and step into spirit. Why? Beloved, because you are spirit.